And welcome back to Sports Weekly on IEMG. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. Right now in this segment, we're going to go one-on-one with Cal State San Bernardino baseball coach Mike Nadeau. He guided the Yotes to the NCAA College World Series for the first time ever. In fact, he made it to the national semifinals. Best year ever in the history of CSUSB baseball. Here's our interview with head coach Mike Nadeau talking about this season, and he's got a lot of guys coming back. They should be good next year as well.
Bouncing ball towards the middle. That's a base hit.
He is the skipper for Cal State San Bernardino baseball, reaching the NCAA Division II World Series for the first time in program history. It's Coach Mike Nadeau. And Coach, man, there's so many things I want to ask you and talk about this season. But now that you've had a couple, about a week or so to kind of reflect on the season and the season coming off that World Series appearance, just what's your general thoughts on where the program is right now in the historic season the Yotes were able to put together this year?
Well, first, Pep, thanks for having me. It has been a crazy year. I think probably the last 3 days I finally had some time to actually sit back and think about the year and what we did and the accomplishments that these kids, did on the field. It's been a journey since I took this thing over. We started off with those 15 wins, I think, for the first couple of years, and then COVID hit us and we got that half year. And then when the season that got taken away from us, we recruited really hard. It was actually something that helped us just because a lot of kids had no place to go. The Division I's were full, JCs were full, our trying to bring it back. So we got really lucky with bringing some guys in that were older, that had experience. And we saw it last year. We saw the transition last year go 27-27. And I think my goal this year was to win 30 games, to see what that would do for us. And guess what? We won 46 and got to World Series that, we talk about it a lot. Even our guys, we do a meeting before every game and a player will get up and talk. And one of the big things that they'll always talk about is that nobody believed in us and nobody thought that we should be here. And there's not a lot of respect when it comes to San Bernardino. And I think just the university and sports in general, besides Kim, she's built that thing for 30 years on the volleyball side of it. And what Annie Newman did this year for basketball, it's great what we're doing and putting San Bernardino on a map, because I truly believe that people just, recruiting's hard. People don't want to come to the Inland Empire. They don't know what to expect. And then they get here. But I think about it now. What I do is I am more appreciative of our players to giving us a chance, because we all have to recruit. We have to bring in these players that want to be a part of this program. But guess what? These kids all took a chance too on me and my coaching staff and Cal State San Bernardino, and look what it's turned into.
Coach, going forward, obviously, you guys will be the hunted now, right? The target will be on your back. You're going to be known as one of the top programs. But, going into this year, like you just mentioned, nobody thought you guys would be there. Nobody gave you guys a shot. No one thought you were a realistic, contender for maybe a conference title, the West Regional. I mean, you guys hosted a West Regional to go to the Super Regional and obviously to the World Series as well. Did you like that as the battle cry? I mean, like you said, your guys talked about it. Your players talked about it. Like, nobody believes in us. Why not us? Like, it's us against the world kind of a mentality, I guess. Next year might be different now, though. But
yeah, I think you like it. I think the guys feed off it because they'll read a story or they'll do something, and we shouldn't host. It was always Monterey Bay, and then even you watch the rankings towards the end of the year, and you would see Monterey Bay pass us up and us drop to almost like 20th, and we're like, we didn't lose any more games, but all of a sudden they dropped us from 6th to 20th. And I think that got the guys a little bit motivated. But I think when we saw it get to the playoffs, our guys changed. It was a different environment just on the field, and how they took it on was great. And even in the World Series, that first game against Rollins, we could just tell, I think the moment got to us. Couldn't hit. We hit all year long. And then all of a sudden we got to game 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and you saw our offense just take off. But even when we were there, you could see very East Coast bias. I mean, I think anybody will tell you from the West Coast, it's probably gone to carry that I mean, they were pronouncing our names wrong. They didn't even know our mascot. We were the Wolves. I mean, it was just interesting what goes on. And you're like, this is NCAA. You'd think somebody would be researching this stuff out. But I think our guys played off that too. It's like, they don't even think we're supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. And look, we make the final three, and I think that's what was good for us, just to, hey, if you're going to put a target on us for the rest of the time I'm here, do it, because that just means it built something that people want to be a part of and want to beat. That means we're the best.
Coach, I'm a box score nerd. Like, I love looking at stats, and I don't have your team stats in front of me right now, but if you were going to point to a key stat all season long where you guys just really got it done, you guys scored a lot of runs. So I don't know if it's batting average with runners in scoring position, or a small number of players left on base, runners left on base. What would you say if you're going to look at a box score and you're like, man, we did this well all year long? This is a real key to us getting to that World Series.
I think we hit around 320 something as a team. We broke Alex Klein did an awesome job. I think we broke 32 school records this year. Offensively, there was just so many home runs. We hit 85 this year, which broke a record. I think we were prepared offensively in situations to where we just hit. We were very mature. I mean, Deshaun Johnson led the nation in hits with, I think, 101. And then Oscar Rauda on the pitching side had the most saves in the country. But offensively, we just hit. I mean, I think Monterey Bay, even when we went up there, they hit too. They were very good. And we said going up there was going to come down to pitching. Whoever pitched the best was going to win that series. And of course, our starting pitchers did really good up there. I mean, they gave us 6-7 innings plus. But we hit. It just seemed like every time we would get a knock, 2-out knocks. I would love to see that. But Coach James, I don't know how much of a baseball guy you are, but we do our QAB charts, which are quality at bats for the year, and we do it for the whole year and all the guys and the team. And we see if you're right around 50%, right a little bit above 50%, you're going to have a really good year if you're that good. And we were at 65% at the end of the year for quality at bats, and for that's massive. That just tells you're going to score a lot of runs. You're going to put a lot of pressure on another team's pitcher. And we did that. We did a really good job of it. And it was fun this year watching I don't throw stats out at the guys. We don't ever post them. We don't do anything, but every Monday we put out the QAB chart, and we have a QAB leader every week. And the QAB leader gets a big comfy chair that he gets to sit in for the week, and they pass it along. But, it was fun. And I'm glad that the guys look at that more than they do stats, because if you're having quality at bats, we're going to win a lot of games, and our guys bought into that a lot this year.
And Coach, what about the heart of the order? I mean, Del Negro, you mentioned Deshaun, Daryl Ruiz, he's a local guy from Santiago and Corona. Mm-hmm. I mean, you said you scored a lot of runs, but how important were these guys coming up with not only big hits, but timely hits, like coming up in big spots to deliver a hit when you guys needed it?
The maturity from that group was stupid. Really, I mean, like you see Deshaun, when he got to the playoffs, he actually got so much better, and I didn't know he could get any better. He almost hit 400 on the year. And then when Daryl Ruiz, I think he set the record for walks, just the maturity of not to chase and to see pitches. I think he had 11 walks in the College World Series and 2 hit by pitches, which I think led everybody. It was just watching them mature throughout the year and grow. And then, of course, Gio has those guys on base all the time in front of him, and he's just putting the ball in play and killing it in RBIs. But it was just you see those guys, and we only lose Deshaun. Really, that whole lineup's back next year with Deshaun being gone. We're going to, but we had to pick up Kyle Sakin from the year before, the home run leader, and we did that this year. So if we can get a few more guys to hit and pick up Deshaun's slack, and even Garrett Macias has a great year, with his RBI. He just, towards the end of the year, it's a catcher. He got beat up a little bit, and Jake Boris had a down year, but he was still so good for us defensively. That whole lineup is just so. And then moving Jason Shedlock he was a sophomore. We moved him to the leadoff spot, and I think he hit 380, 400 as a leadoff guy. He ended up hitting almost 370 for us for the year. We never thought he would do that, but he got his confidence from the meat of that lineup with Deshaun and Daryl and Gio and Garrett, and those guys just always hitting to those younger kids. It helped so much, and they matured.
So, Coach, looking ahead, looking forward to next season, obviously the expectations are going to be different for this program based on the success you had this year. Does it get you excited? Is there more pressure now? Like you said, you got to maybe recruit a little bit harder and maybe find more pitching or whatever that missing piece might be to actually bring home a national title. Do you feel like the expectations, the standards, going to be obviously different going into next season now?
100%. I mean, like you said, we got a target on us now, and we don't want to go backwards. Now we want to go win it. I think now the boys have experienced Cary. We've been there, which this is, it's never been done here before. I think when they left there, they're upset that they lost. But man, I think and we all are excited for fall. I mean, expectations are different. Recruiting's, and I'll tell you, I mean, you go talk to Chico, Monterey, Pomona, it's easier. When you win, you get more people calling and people that want to be with us now that would never have called San Bernardino to come play. So our recruiting's pretty much done. Now, we were waiting on a few arms, but once we've gotten back and gotten the portal kind of just have been blowing up crazy, we're pretty much done with it. And yeah, I think now with the returning class that we have, how old they are too for next fall, I think they know the expectations. We didn't really coach a lot this year. It was really just writing that lineup up and watching those guys and filling in here and there. But the maturity of the group and how old they were, and guess what, how old they're going to be next year. I think when they come in fall, they know the expectations. And I think now they've tasted it, now they want it.
And Coach, finally, you got the Super Regional Championship trophy behind you. That was what punched your ticket to Cary, North Carolina, the World Series. Was it almost poetic that you played Cal State Monterey Bay like so many times, so many important games to get to the World Series? I feel like if you're a Division II college baseball fan or just a CC2A baseball fan, like this is the rivalry now. This is Cal State Monterey Bay and Cal State San Bernardino. That's the series now to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, I think we played them 9 times, I think, this year, which is horrible. Me and Walt talked about it going into the Super, and like, you wish they would split us up, because I could see Walt there too. They had a really good team, and you see Colorado's got to go play Texas, which is a weird. That's how they do their Super. But you kind of wish the West would let us travel or do something so that we don't have to beat each other up so much, and to give some other teams some opportunity in the West to be able to go back out there and maybe have 2 teams. But you know what? They got a great team, and our conference is so tough, and people will be after us next year. But I hope that we reload with who we do miss. We lose Coleman, we lose Oscar, you lose Deshaun, you lose Derek Bogue. Those are your 4 guys that I think are key guys for us. But that's what we do this for. We recruit and we try to keep getting bigger and better every year, and hope that the rivalry stays, because that just means that Cal State San Bernardino is doing what we're supposed to do every year and keep winning.
Well, Coach, listen, I really appreciate the time. Enjoy this moment for a while. I know you'll be grinding again. You're probably already grinding, like you said. The recruiting season is just coming to a close, and the fall ball season will be right around the corner. But Coach, I really appreciate the time. Congratulations on this historic season, the best ever for the Yotes, and I really do appreciate you jumping on here for a couple minutes.
Well, thank you. And it's been a crazy few weeks. My daughter got to play in the College World Series for Stanford, and then we were in ours at Cary at the same time. So my wife had been going back and forth. So now we finally had like 3 or 4 days to be home as a family and just kind of chill. But it was, really special for us. That's kind of like magic in a bottle right there that me and my daughter, and we got to do this thing. But it's been pretty cool experience. And we just we get to keep doing it for the next few years.
And a big thanks to Coach Nadeau for that interview. That's going to do it for this edition of Sports Weekly on IEMG. My name is Pep Fernandez. Make sure you subscribe to the IE Media Group YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.